Okay? Now, in this system, we're going to change it. Over time, the saving is going to turn into their own living expenses. So at a certain time, probably when they're about 11, 12, 13 years old, they will start buying their own clothing or buying their own food or buying a certain area of their own life, and savings will be part of that. It's kind of like daily living. This is what I need for daily living. But they'll still have a bit that they can just enjoy. Now, you could have 5, 6, 7 categories. You could have 2 categories. There's no limitation. This is just how we do it, right? But we do it and we're intentional about every single bit. This is what we found with our kids. I wouldn't have been able to bring it on the plane. Guess what my Christmas gift was? Well, I won't ask you to guess. My Christmas gift last year for my daughter, I'm into bushcraft. Living outdoors, having high quality equipment. And my daughter found out that I love a certain kind of axe. It's hand forged in Sweden. It's the most expensive, the best quality axe that exists. It's the general consensus. It's called Gränsforsbruk. And so I talked about this axe and how much I would love this axe. I talked about the anticipation. You know what my daughter did for me at Christmas? She took every penny in her giving, she added every penny from her pocket change, and she didn't have enough. It's a $150 hatchet, a really little hatchet, $150. She only had $50 when she put everything together. And she started talking to other family members. Hey, listen, I'm trying to do this for Daddy. Would you be willing to put some in? My daughter and my son have this idea that there's an abundance that they have that they can always give wherever there's need. So sometimes they come across something and they're like, hey, I want to help with this. I've got money. I can always help. So there's an abundance. I have more than what I need. We're trying to teach those concepts. And it's fascinating watching those concepts at play. And sometimes they buy things that last longer. Sometimes they buy things that last like 6 seconds. That's fine. That's fine. It's just a learning process. My daughter had made 3 investments. She just got a return on one of her investments last week. This week, actually, while I was here, she got a return on one of her investments. My daughter, the first investment she made was $25, and she bought a very small percentage of my brother's house. Mm-hmm. She became a real estate investor at the age of 5.
Is she on title?
She was not on title, but we did have I wrote up a formal contract and brought her to my brother's house so they could both sign, explained all the wording. It wasn't too complex, but it was enough that a 5-year-old could get it. And so he just moved out of that house and paid her a return on the investment. Signed her a check. So in investing, what we're trying to do with our kids is not you will always win or you always lose or the markets are scary or risk. All we're trying to teach them is try lots of things. Learn. Before you're 18, before you have a lot of money, learn about this. And as you learn, you're going to make mistakes. It's okay. So we're keeping a record of all the investments she's made. Second investment she made was in a bank. We got a card in the mail from BMO saying that if a kid under 8 or under 12 puts $25 into a savings account, and they leave it there for 60 days, the bank will match it. So I took the card and said to my kids, let me teach you about investing. Banks want our money. They use our money to make more money. This bank wants your money. And they're coming to you with a card, and they've said, if you give them a certain amount of money, they will give you even more money if you leave it there for a while. They want to use it for 60 days. But after that, you can get even more money. It's called investing. It's called joint venture. I've talked about all these different concepts of them, okay? And so once I explained that all to them, I said, what are your thoughts? And Jael, my daughter, said, I want to do it, Daddy. Great. Took it to the bank, $25 out of investing. We took it to the bank. We opened an account, put it in there, leave it for 60 days. We come back home. My son says, Daddy, I don't want to do that. He doesn't have an allowance at this time. Okay? He didn't have an allowance. Daddy, I want to do it. I said, great. There's a problem. He said, what's the problem? I said, you don't have the money to do that. they said, oh, it can't be done. I said, oh, wait. Who has money? More investment money. JL and Enoch both looked at JL. She said, I have another $25. I said, but you have a problem. You're only able to do this once. Just let them sit with it. See if they come up with an answer. And I don't remember if they came up with the answer themselves this time or not. Basically said, this is what is called a joint venture partnership. Two people, they both have needs, and the needs are different. And they work together so that everyone gets what they want. So I said, what would it look like if JL gives her $25 to Enoch, and Enoch has the opportunity, he will invest it? What should happen to the money at the end? And Enoch said, I should get it. I said, no, because JL had the money, you didn't have the money. She's helping you, so what are you going to pay her? He said, oh, maybe I should give her half. I said, JL, what do you think about that? Would you be happy you don't have the ability, Enoch has the ability, and you can help him do that, and take half of the money in return? He said, yeah, I like that idea. I said, great. Wrote up a formal contract. The collateral, if he didn't pay back within a certain amount of time, was he lost Lego. He gave her his Lego, okay? So we had all this stuff in the contract, simple contract. We keep a copy of all these things. And they did their first joint venture deal. They've done another joint venture deal since that with a fish, and the fishbowl and a bunch of other stuff. But the third investment she made was we came across, there's this chocolate company in Calgary that makes chocolate from scratch. There are only like 2 or 3 companies in Canada that do this. Most chocolate, for even Callebaut, big chocolate makers that are fancy, typically they're buying their chocolate and they're just forming it or adding certain things to it. So this chocolate maker is special. So Teresa and I love it. And we got an email from them saying we're looking for what is it called, a crowdfunding project. We're looking for money. I said, JL, you looking for investments? Yeah, I am, Daddy. I've got a bunch of money sitting here. Said, great. There's an investment here. I explained it to her. Went through all the contract. The smallest investment that could be made was $1,000. She only had $200 to invest. So what are you going to do? Well, maybe I can ask Grams and Papa to do it. Sure you can. How are you going to present it to them? I'm going to tell them that this is what I want. Well, you could do that. You could try it, and it'll probably work when you're 6 or 7, okay? But when you get older, it's not just about you. You have to present. If you want money from somebody, if they have something that you want, you're going to have to help them understand how it makes sense for them, how it helps them. She said, well, it grows their money too. I said, you're right. How about you present it in that way? She said, well, what about you and Mama? I said, tell me more. So she explained how this would help Teresa and I. I said, well, let's talk with Mama. So we sat down at the table and talked for a little while and said, well, what do you think, Teresa? And she said, well, what do you think, Mark? And we said, well, we like this investment opportunity as well. So we gave her $800. She took $200. We're splitting the proceeds in a couple of weeks here. It's coming back to us. Okay?
Chocolate.
Well, so we got it. So this was actually a big deal. And this was a really cool circumstance for her. So Chocolat, the company, found out that a 6-year-old was doing this. Okay? And when they caught wind of this, they had a representative actually come to her house to sign the documents and do everything. And the way she presented it to JL was that she was investing basically in Willy Wonka. And brought treats for her at that time. Some chocolate and some other
Sound
things.
investment.
Yeah. And then they had a grand opening when they used all the seed money to build their facility. They had a wine and chocolate tasting that they invited our family to. So you see the parties in New York or whatever. This was a mini party like that, and my kids were part of it, and they were treated like gold at that party. And everyone knew that there was this 6-year-old investor. It was such a cool thing. So it was a really unique experience. And again, we've got all the contracts, we show them, we talk about them every once in a while. But I'm trying to teach my kids that money is a wonderful thing. That's what I'm trying to teach my kids. And these are all the things you can do with your money. And they're going to make mistakes, and they're going to have good and bad, whatever. That's fine. So does this kind of give you, again, just more ideas of things you can do with people you know or people whatever? Should we?
Reeling you in.
Yeah.
That's awesome work. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it was really good work.
Yeah.
It's a good ad too. It's kind of like a graph